Hi everyone. Today I want to talk to you about corn and the best way to plant corn to ensure pollination. That's really important because insects are not going to pollinate your corn. The wind is going to pollinate your corn. And the best way to plant your corn is in blocks, not two rows going down, but you want to plant them in blocks. So let me show you what I have. So here I have corn planted in a 4x5 block because this particular bed is 10 by 4. And you will see that this corn is about 14 to 15 inches high right now. And you can actually see the rows in between. I planted this corn 6 inches from each other in all directions. And in my particular region where I live, you have to make sure that the soil temperature of corn is at least 60 degrees or it will not germinate. So I don't start my corn until July, around July 1st, the first week of July, because in this bed I had garlic, and that's about the time that I harvested the garlic, and then I prepped the bed, I put compost on the bed, I amended it with some fertilizer, I waited about a week to kind of let things sit a little bit, and then I planted the corn 6 inches apart. So now that the corn is this tall, it's ready for fertilizer. It's going to need it. It's a very heavy feeder for nitrogen because corn is a grass, and that's really what it relies on. And because I've also planted it more densely, it's also going to be a heavy feeder for water. It's going to be hungry. It's going to want nutrients and it's going to want water. And so corn needs at least 1.5 inches of water a week. And then we're going to fertilize it with the 1400 blood meal. Now, the instructions on here say to spread 3 cups on 100 square feet. I'm dealing with a 5x4 section, so that's only 20 square feet. So I'm only going to put in a half a cup. So that's what I have measured out here, half a cup. And what we're going to do is we're going to side dress the corn. So what does that mean? That means we're not going to put it around the stem. We're just going to go down the row, in the middle of the row between the two corn stalks, and put a little bit of fertilizer in there. And that way it's side dressing it and it won't burn the roots. Now, it's recommended that you use a 4600, which is a urea fertilizer. It's very high in nitrogen, but it's not organic. So I don't choose to use that. And if you use the 4600, you would fertilize it once now and then once again when the tassels start appearing. Because I'm using a lower nitrogen mix, I'm going to do this once a month. And then I'm going to keep an eye on it because if I see the leaves starting to turn a little yellow, that's going to tell me they need more food. And so I will be able to provide them more food. And then after we get done fertilizing, I want to share with you a little tip towards the end. So hang around and we'll talk. I'll tell you what the tip is. So you can see the little red line. Let me get my shadow out of the video. See the little red line? That's the fertilizer that's going down the center of each of the rows. And then after doing this, we're going to water it in as well because you want to water it in right away. So that's what it looks like. Now, something else I want to show you, my little tip is I know you're going to want to plant all your corn all at once because I still have the other half of this bed. And so I did some succession planting and I planted this corn about 2 weeks after this corn because I don't want to have all this corn happening all at the same time. So if you fertilize it and water it correctly and do a little bit of succession planting, you will have corn for a very long part of the season. This was peaches and cream corn, and it has a maturity date of about 70 to 80 days. So in my zone, with our first frost date being approximately October 15th, and I started at July 1, I still have plenty of time for the corn to grow. So I have all of July, all of August, a little bit into September. And September is mild enough here that corn does really well. And you know, the other thing I do is I have a lot of farmers around me too, and I watch the farmers that grow a lot of corn, and they get 2, 3 plantings in a season because they're rotating it very quickly, harvesting, getting it ready again, and then they're planting more because a lot of them have, cows and cattle and other things, and so it's used as feed or they sell it, things like that. So corn is really easy to grow if you give it the right amount of nutrients. You plant it in a block, not a single row, and you make sure it gets at least 1.5 inches of water a week. So you should get lots of corn. So I hope that's helpful, and we'll be talking to you soon, and keep on farming.